Hey everyone, this video I wanted to play teacher because some people are too stupid to look at the dictionary online or look at examples of certain words that they are using again and again. There are many words thrown around like fascist and Nazi, just basically calling people names. And it's very awful names, by the way. But let's take some time to identify these two words. I'll give my opinion on if Trump is a fascist and his followers Nazis or not, so buckle up. And then also, I thought it would be fun to play a game of giving points to whatever political side, the right or the left, is more fascist during each categorization I'll read. So the word fascist means an adherent of fascism, a political ideology and mass movement characterized by extreme nationalism, militarism, authoritarianism, and suppression of opposition. The word is frequently used pejoratively today, and its meaning can be interpreted differently depending on the context. So it's basically saying it doesn't really mean what you think it means anymore. But let's break down the traditional the traditional aspects of the word fascism. Here's a few characteristics. First, nationalism, an extreme ultranationalist emphasis on national identity and the superiority of the in-group, often invoking a mythical, glorious past. This may involve ethnic or racial exclusiveness, which was a central feature of German fascism. So when it comes to this, I say Donald Trump he does want to go back to a past time by making America great again, but there's not really like an in-group, as basically both the fundamentalist Christians and homosexuals, as well as whites and people of color, are on the right side. However, with the left, what I am seeing is believe in this and cater to the cause, or we will ruthlessly cancel you. And I'd say because of this, the left kind of gets a point for this. They don't really look at like a good past. In fact, they even look at basically that it was a bad past. But I'd say they still get a point because they're wanting you to be part of their in-group. They don't care what you think. They want you to follow all of their core tenets and teachings on the left. Dictatorial leadership. A government system headed by a single powerful leader who controls all aspects of the state and society. So fascism promotes a cult of personality around this charismatic leader. So I have to say, when it comes to the law, no, because we still have three branches of government: the executive, the legislative, and the judicial. But I do not consider Trump a dictator since he stepped down the first time and will do so again. And considering that the left can't tell who their leader is, I say it's safe to assume that neither team gets a point. Suppression of opposition. The forcible suppression of all criticism and dissent, typically creating a totalitarian one-party state. Fascist regimes use propaganda and control the media to manufacture and enforce ideological conformity. So, there's still left-wing media screaming we should be scared of the big bad orange man. But if there really was control of the media, they would be too scared to vocalize their worries and fears because, I'm gonna go to jail because Trump put me in there. That's the reason why I consider CNN an absolute joke as well as The View. They are also too scared to admit when they are wrong. So the left gets a point for this one because they're controlling the media and the propaganda. Militarism and violence. The glorification of military power and use of violence, including political violence, as a means to achieve national rejuvenation. Fascists believe that life is permanent warfare and that pacifism is a betrayal. Considering President Trump is trying to make peace with other nations, I would say no, he is not into violence. I do have to say that leftist organizations, including Antifa, are violent and are getting increasingly more violent. People are now excited about enrolling in the US military, but mostly because it's better protocol. So, I'd probably say the left actually gets a point for this just because they're into violence now. It's kind of a strange, complicated thing. Hierarchy and contempt for the weak. A strong belief in a national social hierarchy which justifies the subordination of the individual to the state or nation. This can be coupled with disdain for the weak, marginalized groups, and intellectual discourse. So I have to say, I saw the left push down the right and make them be more submissive, but now the right is rising up and saying they won't be pushed anymore. People can still believe in their leftist ideologies, but the right's not being pushed anymore. The left was big into pushing their beliefs and agenda on people, anything from sexual identity and the right pronouns to silencing their enemies like Trump. The left scores a point for this one. Creation of scapegoats. The identification of enemies or scapegoats, such as ethnic minorities, immigrants, or political opponents, as a unifying cause. These groups are blamed for the nation's perceived decline and internal crisis. Well, there has been some blame on both sides recently. I see people blaming illegal immigrants for taking jobs away from Americans, and yes, I do believe that means people who should not have been in this country in the first place because it's illegal. The Democrats blame Trump for everything bad that happened when they were in office, even though it was their fault. Like, seriously, chill out on both sides. But I'd say the right gets half a point and the left gets an entire point and a half for this one. And then finally, here's what the definition of a Nazi actually is. A member of the far-right National Socialist German Workers' Party. The far right is different than our far right, their far right, but they are socialists. Guess which political party is leaning towards the experience with more socialism? Yes, the left. Another point for the left. So totals for my game on who is the most fascist: right 0.5, left 5.5. Now, just because I said the left is more fascist doesn't mean I want anyone to kill them. I just want the left to be exposed for who they truly are. Projectors that have very few good ideas anymore. Please take a look at yourself and change, since we need two healthy political parties.